Deferred maintenance is becoming a capital risk. Deferred maintenance becomes a capital risk not because individual assets age, but because capital requirements stop behaving independently. Under normal conditions, infrastructure systems are maintained and renewed on staggered timelines. Electrical upgrades occur separately from HVAC replacements. Structural repairs are sequenced independently of controls modernization. Capital planning assumes this separability. Projects are prioritized, budgets are smoothed, and execution capacity is allocated incrementally. Deferred maintenance breaks that assumption. As assets exceed expected service life, dependencies between systems intensify. What once could be deferred individually now requires simultaneous intervention to preserve safety, performance, and compliance. Capital requirements shift from linear replacement to coupled renewal, where addressing one system forces intervention in others. This is nonlinear capital coupling. Evidence of scale, when backlogs become capital signals. Industry leaders and public sector auditors increasingly converge on the same conclusion. Deferred maintenance has crossed from backlog to balance sheet exposure. Analysis cited by Ryan Chan, CEO of Upkeep, places the national deferred maintenance burden at approximately $1.2 trillion, spanning public infrastructure, institutional facilities, and core building systems. That figure is not merely a tally of postponed work. It represents accumulated capital obligations that can no longer be sequenced gradually. This view is reinforced by federal data. The U.S. Government Accountability Office reports that deferred maintenance across federal assets more than doubled between 2017 and fiscal year 2024, rising from roughly $170 billion to over $370 billion. Despite those assets remaining largely operational throughout that period, operational continuity did not signal capital health. It masked deterioration. The implication is critical. Continued operation is no longer a reliable indicator that capital risk is contained. How coupling emerges inside operating assets. Nonlinear coupling typically emerges through three technical mechanisms, each well documented in infrastructure and facilities research. Shared operating envelopes. Mechanical, electrical, and HVAC systems installed decades ago were designed to operate with wider tolerances and lower integration. As systems age and loads increase, replacing one component frequently requires adjacent systems to meet tighter specifications. Deferred maintenance increases the probability that upgrades trigger scope expansion across systems. Regulatory and code alignment pressure. Once a system is opened for renewal, partial modernization is often prohibited. Current codes require upgraded systems to meet contemporary standards, effectively pulling deferred assets into the same capital cycle, even if they were not originally targeted for replacement. Redundancy collapse under execution stress. Deferred maintenance erodes redundancy over time. When replacement finally occurs, temporary systems, parallel upgrades, or accelerated sequencing are required to maintain continuity, particularly in hospitals, laboratories, and energy-intensive facilities. Capital commitments become inseparable. From incremental deferral to capital cliff research consistently shows that deferred maintenance produces nonlinear cost escalation. For every dollar of maintenance deferred, future capital renewal costs increase by an estimated $4, a figure widely cited in infrastructure and asset management literature. When indirect costs are included, emergency procurement, downtime, regulatory response, insurance impacts, the multiplier can exceed tenfold. What matters most, however, is not the multiplier itself, but the timing compression that accompanies it. When coupling thresholds are crossed, capital no longer flows by prioritization. It flows by necessity. Healthcare as a stress test environment. Healthcare facilities illustrate nonlinear coupling with particular clarity. National benchmark data indicates that more than half of major hospital mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and life safety assets have exceeded expected useful life. Metrics such as Facility Condition Index, FCI, and Age of Plant, AOP, show that many systems remain in service well after full depreciation, creating a widening gap between financial models and physical reality. In these environments, deferred maintenance cannot be addressed sequentially. Replacing HVAC systems often requires electrical upgrades, controls modernization, and life safety alignment, executed while patient care continues uninterrupted. Capital coupling becomes unavoidable. This is not a facilities issue. It is a capital execution constraint. Market signals of capital coupling, the rise of what industry observers describe as an invisible construction boom, driven by system replacement inside live facilities rather than new construction, is itself a stress signal. Capital that once flowed toward expansion is being redirected toward renewal under compressed timelines, limited labor availability, and heightened execution risk. This shift is visible in insurance underwriting, financing terms, and project delivery models. Deferred maintenance increasingly influences how risk is priced, even before failures occur. Infrastructure stress without failure. Nonlinear capital coupling reinforces a central infrastructure stress points insight. Stress accumulates before systems break. Assets remain functional. Compliance may still be met. Incidents may not occur. Yet capital flexibility erodes rapidly as deferred maintenance forces synchronized reinvestment across interdependent systems. The risk is not surprise failure. The risk is forced capital movement with diminishing choice. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.